The USS Dauntless floated into orbital station Sigma-7 like a wounded animal seeking shelter. Its once shiny hull now looked like someone had used it for target practice. Chief Engineer Samantha Powell pressed her hand against the cold window of the viewing deck, watching small repair robots buzz around the ship like busy bees. Her red hair was tied back in a messy ponytail, and dark circles under her eyes showed how tired she was. Another day, another broken ship, she muttered to herself. The damage wasn't their fault. The Dauntless had run into a field of space rocks while protecting a colony transport. Captain Joe Kelly had saved the civilians but wrecked his own ship in the process. Now it was Samantha's job to fix it. What she didn't know was that 3 alien ships were heading toward the station right now. Each came from a different corner of space, and each had problems only humans could solve. The first was a Kazin warship called Fang of Honor. The Kazin were giant cat-like aliens who loved fighting more than talking. Their ship was the biggest and most dangerous in this part of space, with weapons that could turn a planet to dust. Right now, though, those weapons weren't working. The second ship was the Endless Inquiry, filled with the bug-like Morvellians. These aliens had 6 legs, hard shells, and brains 3 times bigger than human ones. They were the smartest beings in the galaxy, but their fancy space drive had stopped working and they couldn't figure out why. The third ship was a trader vessel called Profitable Exchange. The snake-like Tressian aliens inside were the best business makers in the universe. They could sell sand in a desert, but now their life support systems were failing, which meant they might all die before reaching their next big deal. All 3 alien ships had one thing in common: they needed human help. Humans weren't the strongest species in space. They weren't the fastest or the smartest either. Many alien races could live for hundreds of years while humans were lucky to reach 100. But humans had something special. They could fix almost anything. Human brains were wired differently. Where aliens saw broken parts that needed replacing, humans saw puzzles that needed solving. Where aliens followed rule books, humans made up new rules. This special talent had changed humanity from space newcomers into the galaxy's most important mechanics in just 20 years. Station Commander Greg Hoffman sat at his desk, rubbing his bald head as 3 emergency calls came in at once. His blue uniform was wrinkled from a too-long shift, and coffee stains marked his desk where he had missed his mug several times. "Just what we need," he grumbled, pressing the communication button. "Powell, get up to my office. We've got trouble." 5 minutes later, Samantha rushed in, still wiping engine grease from her hands with a rag. "What's wrong? Is it the Dauntless?" Greg shook his head. "Worse. We've got 3 more ships coming in. All need emergency repairs." 3? You've got to be kidding me." Samantha collapsed into a chair. "We're already working 16-hour shifts, fixing our own ship. The team is exhausted." Greg pulled up holograms showing the 3 incoming alien vessels. "Can't turn them away. The Kaizen ship has weapon failures." "So what? Less chance they'll shoot at someone. The Morvellians can't move their science ship. Something about quantum physics gone wrong. They're supposed to be the smart ones. Let them figure it out. And the Tressians are losing life support. They've got maybe 2 days before they start dying." Samantha stared at the ceiling. "Perfect. A warship that can't fight, a science ship that can't move, and traitors who might suffocate." She looked back at Greg. "Just another normal day at Sigma-7, right?" Greg nodded. "You know why they come to us. No one else can do what we do." It was true. Across the galaxy, the word had spread. If you have something broken that no one else can fix, find the humans. They'll figure it out. The station's alert system beeped loudly. The Kazin ship was arriving first, its massive red hull sliding into the biggest repair dock. Even damaged, it looked terrifying. A normal repair team would run away from such a dangerous vessel. Humans ran toward it instead. "I'll take the cat people," Samantha said, standing up. "They respect strength. Put Olivia on the bugs. She speaks their math language, and maybe Alan for the snake traders. He's good with life support systems." Greg smiled for the first time that day. "This is why you're the chief. You always know who to send where. And you always know we'll get it done somehow." Samantha headed for the door, already making plans in her head. Better call everyone in. It's going to be a long night. As she walked through the station toward the repair dock, other workers joined her. They were all different. Tall, short, dark-skinned, pale, men, women, but they all shared the same human ability to look at broken things and see solutions no one else could imagine. The station's speaker system played a message. Attention. All repair crews. Multiple emergency situations incoming. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Samantha smiled. The aliens were about to learn again why their ships swarmed human repair stations, because no one in the entire galaxy did it better. Junior engineer Alan Rivera didn't expect to be inside an alien warship today. Yet here he was, floating in zero gravity inside the Kazin battleship's main weapon control room. His tools floated around him in a small cloud, and sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool air. The weapons surrounding him weren't supposed to exist in human space. At least 3 peace treaties said so, but right now nobody cared about treaties. The Kazin needed help, and Alan was the best person to give it. Strike Commander Katal floated nearby, his massive cat-like body making Alan feel tiny in comparison. The Kazin's orange fur stood on end, showing his frustration. His claws extended and retracted nervously, sharp enough to cut through metal with one swipe. Your human repair skills better not be exaggerated, Katal growled, showing fangs as long as Alan's fingers. We have waited 6 hours already. Alan didn't look up from the tangle of wires he was exploring. Good repairs take time, especially when I've never seen this technology before. You stare at our holy weapons as if they confuse you, Katal said, his tail twitching dangerously. Yet your people claim to be the best fixers in space. Alan smiled, still focused on his scanner readings. They do confuse me, and that's why you're lucky to have me here. Explain this strange statement, human. If I already knew exactly how your weapons worked, I could only fix them the normal way, the way that didn't work for your engineers. Alan pushed himself deeper into the weapon housing. But since I'm figuring it out as I go, I might find a solution nobody has thought of before. The scanner in Alan's hand beeped loudly. He grinned wide. Found it. Your engineers thought the problem was in the targeting computer, but it's actually in this quantum entanglement stabilizer. He pointed to a small box that glowed with blue light. The power fluctuation is coming from here, not from the main system. Katal's yellow eyes narrowed. My best technicians examined that component 3 times. They were looking for what should be wrong, not what actually is wrong. Alan pulled out a small tool and began making adjustments. That's the human difference. On the other side of the station, Olivia Martinez was having an equally difficult conversation. The lead systems specialist was kneeling beside the Morvellian ship's experimental drive, surrounded by insect-like aliens who clicked their mandibles nervously. The Morvellians were brilliant scientists with 6 legs, hard exoskeletons, and compound eyes that shimmered with rainbow colors. They knew more about physics than any human, yet their fancy ship couldn't move, and they couldn't figure out why. Chief Researcher Tzket, the largest of the bugs, waved his front legs in distress as Olivia began taking apart their precious drive. This violates all proper procedures, he clicked. The drive must be disassembled according to the exact design specifications. There are 37 steps before removing that component. Olivia didn't stop working. Her dark hair was tied back, and her hands moved with confident precision. Your procedures are exactly why you're stuck here, she said calmly. Sometimes you need fresh eyes and new ideas. She held up a small crystal component. Look at this. You've been running calculations based on standard dark energy patterns, but the quantum foam in this sector of space has different properties. Your drive was working too hard trying to compensate, and it burned itself out. The Morvellians huddled together, their antennae touching as they communicated silently. Finally, Tzket stepped forward. How can you know this? You have no advanced degree in quantum mechanics. I don't need one, Olivia replied, already beginning to rebuild the drive with modifications. I've seen this problem before on other ships. Experience beats theory when something's broken. At the same time, Veteran repair technician Frank Delgado and his young apprentice Carly Wright were aboard the Tressian trading ship. The snake-like aliens watched with nervous yellow eyes as the humans worked on their failing life support system. Frank, a gray-haired man with wrinkled hands that showed years of hard work, was connecting parts that weren't meant to work together. Carly, barely 22 and eager to prove herself, was following his lead with a soldering tool. "What you're doing is not in the manual," said the Tressian captain, his forked tongue flicking in and out anxiously. His scales shimmered with stress colors. "Our engineers always follow the procedure guides." "That's the problem," Frank said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Your life support was built for efficiency, not for backup systems. When one part failed, everything started failing." The captain's body coiled tighter. "Is this safe? What you're doing now?" Carly looked up from her work with a confident smile. "It's a lot safer than slowly running out of air to breathe. We're giving you 3 backup pathways. It won't be pretty or perfect, but it will keep you and your crew alive until you reach a proper repair yard." Frank nodded as they finished the connections. Tressian ships are built beautifully, but they don't handle unexpected problems well. Human ships are ugly by comparison, but we build in backups for the backups. The Tressian captain watched as the life support readings began to stabilize. "I do not understand. You are using parts from our food preparation systems to fix our air filters. How can this work?" "Because," Frank said with a smile, "both systems move things from one place to another. We just had to get creative with the connection points." Across all 3 ships, the story was the same. Human ingenuity was solving problems that alien logic couldn't handle. While aliens built perfect systems that worked perfectly until they didn't, humans built imperfect systems that could be fixed in 1,000 different ways. And that was why all across the galaxy, when something important broke down, the call always went out. "Find me a human. They'll know what to do." News traveled fast in space. Within days, the story of the 3 impossible repairs at Sigma 7 Station had spread across the galaxy. The Kazin warship with weapons working better than before. The Morvellian science vessel with an improved drive system. The Tressian trader ship with life support that now had triple backups, all fixed by humans. All fixed in ways that the aliens' own engineers would never have tried. Ships began changing their routes to pass by Sigma 7. The waiting list for human repair services grew longer each day. Some alien vessels traveled hundreds of light years, just for a chance to have humans look at their problems. In the station's mess hall, Chief Engineer Samantha Powell sat with a cup of hot coffee, watching the repair crews come and go between shifts. The room smelled of different foods from Earth: spicy curry, sweet pastries, rich stews, all made to remind the workers of home. Across from her sat Ethan Miller, a newly arrived human diplomatic officer. His clean blue uniform looked out of place among the oil-stained work clothes of the repair teams. His polished shoes and neatly combed brown hair showed he had never crawled through a dirty engine room. "I still don't understand," Ethan said, cutting his food into perfect little squares. "We've shared all our repair methods with our alien allies. We've sent teachers to their home planets. We've given them our repair manuals. Why can't they fix things the way we do?" Samantha blew on her coffee before taking a sip. Dark circles under her eyes showed how tired she was after 2 weeks of emergency repairs. "Because we're not teaching them what they think we're learning," she said with a small smile. "The Kazin, for example, they follow every repair procedure perfectly. That's why they can't adapt when something unexpected happens." She pointed toward the window where the giant cat-like alien's warship could be seen. "They're warriors. They believe in perfect discipline. They can't understand that sometimes you need to break the rules to fix the problem." "What about the Morvellians? They're smarter than us." "Sure, they understand physics better than humans ever will. But they're too careful to try something unless they're 100% sure it will work. They won't take chances." Ethan looked thoughtful. "And the Tressians? Great business people, terrible improvisers. When they see a broken part, they order a new one. They never ask if they could use something else instead." Samantha finished her coffee. "Humans look at a broken coffee maker and wonder if they can fix it with parts from an old toaster." Across the station, Junior engineer Alan Rivera was proving her point without knowing it. The Xin had invited him to their ship for a special meal, a rare honor for a non-warrior species. He sat at a low table with Strike Commander Catal, surrounded by weapons and battle trophies. Catal raised a cup of fermented milk toward Alan. The smell was terrible, but Alan knew refusing would be an insult. Your repair solution was not elegant, the giant cat alien admitted, his whiskers twitching. But it worked very well. Our own engineers would have replaced the entire weapons system. Alan raised his own cup, trying not to breathe through his nose. Sometimes not elegant is exactly what you need. Perfect solutions only work in perfect conditions. Space is never perfect. There is a saying now spreading among the stars, Catal said, showing his sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. If you want something built right, hire a Morvalian. If you want something sold right, hire a Tressian. But if you want something fixed right, find a human. They drank together, and Alan tried not to cough as the sour milk burned his throat. Later that day, in the main repair bay, Olivia Martinez watched as the Morvalian ship prepared to leave. Chief Researcher Tsiket approached her, his insect legs clicking on the metal floor. "We have studied what you did to our drive," he said, his voice a series of clicks and hums translated by a small device on his thorax. "It should not work. The mathematical probability was only 5.27%. Olivia shrugged. "But it does work." "Yes, which means our understanding of quantum probability is flawed. Or maybe it means that sometimes you just have to try something, even when the math says it probably won't work." The Morvalian's compound eyes shimmered with colors. "This is not a comfortable idea for my species. That's why you come to us," Olivia said with a smile. "We're comfortable with uncomfortable ideas." In another part of the station, Frank Delgado and his apprentice Carly finished the final checks on the Tressian ship. The snake-like captain presented them with a small box. "A bonus payment," he said, his forked tongue flicking between words. "Your solution for our life support was creative." "Just doing our job," Frank said, accepting the box. Inside were rare gems worth more than a year's salary. "We have added Sigma-7 to our permanent trade routes," the captain continued. "And we have told other trading ships to do the same. Human repairs are worth the journey." After the Tressian ship departed, Carly looked at her mentor. "Why do they need us so much? Their technology is better than ours." Frank closed the gem box and handed it to her. "Consider this your graduation present, kid. You're a full repair tech now." Carly's eyes widened. "But I haven't finished my training." "You finished it the moment you helped save that ship. You know the human secret now." "What secret?" Frank smiled, his wrinkled face showing years of hard work. "That there's no secret, just a willingness to try things that might not work. Aliens build systems that work perfectly until they break. Humans build systems that can be fixed 100 different ways when they break." "Is that really all it is?" "That and the fact that we're too stubborn to give up on a broken machine." Frank laughed. "Now come on. There are 12 more ships waiting for the human touch." As they walked toward the next repair job, messages continued to flow through space. Planet to planet, ship to ship, space station to space station. The word spread further. When something important breaks, find a human. Because no one does repairs better. 3 months passed. Sigma-7 Station had become the most famous human repair center in the galaxy. Ships from all species came for help. The repair crews worked long hours but took pride in solving problems no one else could fix. Then disaster struck. A strange hole opened in space near the busy Arcturus trade route. Scientists called it a wormhole anomaly. It spewed dangerous radiation that damaged any ship that came within a light year of it. Ship systems failed. Navigation computers crashed. Engines stopped working. In just 2 days, 47 damaged. Ships from 17 different alien species limped to Sigma-7, all needing emergency repairs at once. Station Commander Greg Hoffman called an emergency meeting in the main control room. All senior staff crowded around the big table. Holograms showed the growing line of broken ships waiting outside the station. This is a crisis like we've never seen, Greg said, his face looking older than it had 3 months ago. His uniform was wrinkled, and he hadn't shaved in 2 days. 47 ships need immediate help. That's more than we normally fix in a whole year. Chief Engineer Samantha Powell studied the hologram showing all the damaged vessels. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. "We can't handle this, Greg," she said quietly. "Not even with every repair worker doing triple shifts, there are just too many ships." "We have to," Greg replied, his voice firm. "The Galactic Council is watching how we respond. If we turn ships away, people will die. Our reputation will die too, and we'll lose our advantage in the upcoming treaty talks." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what was at stake. Humanity's place in the galaxy depended on their repair skills. It was the one thing humans did better than anyone else. Ethan Miller, the diplomatic officer who had been on the station for 3 months now, spoke up. His once clean uniform now had oil stains like everyone else's. "What if we taught them to fix their own ships?" he suggested. "Not the standard procedures we've tried before. I mean the real human way of doing things." Greg looked doubtful. "A repair workshop? During an emergency?" "Not just a workshop," Samantha said, suddenly getting excited. "A team effort. Each damaged ship sends their best technical people to work with ours. We fix the first few ships together. Then those crews help with the next ships." Olivia Martinez, who had been listening quietly, nodded eagerly. "We've been keeping our special repair approach secret because it's valuable to us. But right now, we need all hands capable of thinking outside the box." Greg looked around the room at his tired staff. "Can this work? Can we really teach aliens to think like humans?" "Maybe not completely," Samantha admitted, "but enough to get through this crisis." Within hours, the plan was in action. The station's repair bays were converted into teaching areas. Each human engineer was paired with aliens from 3 or 4 different ships. They didn't just show the technical steps of repairs, they taught their creative problem-solving approach. In Bay 12, Frank Delgado worked with a team of Tressians, showing them how to rebuild a power converter using parts salvaged from damaged components. "Don't think about what it's supposed to be," he told the snake-like aliens as they watched him connect parts that weren't meant to go together. "Think about what it needs to do." The Tressians looked confused, their forked tongues flicking in and out rapidly. "But the repair manual clearly states," one began. "Forget the manual," Frank interrupted. "The manual didn't plan for the situation." In Bay 7, Carly worked with Morvellian scientists, showing them how to bypass safety systems without creating new dangers. "The manual is just a guideline, not a religious book," she explained, as the insect-like aliens gasped at her modifications to their precious equipment. "But this violates 6 safety protocols," one Morvellian protested, his antenna quivering in distress. "Yes, but we're adding 3 new safety backups that aren't in the manual," Carly explained patiently. "Sometimes you have to break small rules to follow the biggest rule, keeping people alive." In Bay 3, Alan Rivera found himself teaching a group of Kazin warriors how to do battlefield repairs. The cat-like aliens towered over him, their claws extended as they tried to handle delicate tools. "Your enemy isn't the broken part," Alan told them as they struggled. "It's your idea that there's only one right way to fix something," the largest Kazin growled. "In battle, there is a right way and a wrong way. The wrong way gets you killed. In repairs, there are 100 right ways," Alan countered. "And being too scared to try a new way is what gets you killed." All across the station, humans were teaching aliens to think differently. Some caught on quickly, others struggled with the new concepts. But slowly, ships began to get fixed. 5 days into the crisis, something amazing happened. A Kazin engineer used a food processor part to fix a weapon system, something no Kazin would have ever tried before meeting humans. A Morvellian science team created a temporary shield against the wormhole radiation using an untested theory that had only a 12% chance of working. But it did work. In the control room, Greg and Samantha watched the progress on the big screens. "It's working," Samantha, said in wonder. Not perfectly, but they're actually starting to get it. Greg nodded, allowing himself a small smile for the first time in days. How many ships have been repaired? 22 so far. And the pace is picking up as the aliens who learned from us are now helping others. Which species is doing the best? Samantha checked her datapad. The Kazin, surprisingly. Once they started treating repair challenges like battles to be won through clever tactics rather than brute force, they caught on quickly. And the worst? The Morvellians still struggle. They want to understand exactly why each repair works before they'll try it. By the time they finish their calculations, we've already fixed 3 more ships. Greg watched as another ship's status changed from damaged to repaired on the big screen. We might actually get through this, he said quietly, and we'll have changed the galaxy in the process. Once just a human-run repair outpost, it had become something much greater, a place where different species worked side by side, learning, failing, trying again, and succeeding. The chaos of the wormhole crisis had pushed everyone to their limits, but instead of breaking, they had adapted. Inside Bay 2, a tall insect-like Morvellian carefully installed a replacement circuit, her hands still trembling from nervousness. Next to her, a human engineer gave a thumbs up. That's it. You did it, Laurie, he said. I did not calculate the outcome this time, she replied. I just felt it would work. He grinned. That's the human way. In Bay 12, the Tressian crew gathered around Frank Delgado as they finished fixing their ship's power grid. The snake-like aliens hissed with joy and flicked their tongues at him in gratitude. You helped us see things not as they are, but as they could be, said one of them. Frank wiped sweat from his forehead and smiled. That's what humans do best. We look at a mess and ask, how can we make this work anyway? In the control room, Commander Greg Hoffman stood at the large window, staring out at the stars. The endless line of broken ships had vanished. Only 2 remained, and both were nearly ready to leave. Behind him, Samantha Powell walked in, holding her datapad. It's official, she said. 45 out of 47 ships are repaired and flying. The last 2 will leave tomorrow. Greg leaned on the rail. And no one died. Not one. No, she said. But we did lose something. He turned toward her with a raised eyebrow. Samantha smiled gently. Our secret, the Deathworlder method. We gave it away. Greg didn't smile, not at first. He looked down at his tired hands, calloused from helping in the bays. Maybe, he said. But maybe it was never really ours to keep. Maybe it's not a method, Sam. Maybe it's a mindset, one that only humans truly understand. Samantha thought for a moment. You think the aliens won't be able to copy us completely? They'll copy the steps, they'll even copy our words. But there's something inside us they don't quite get yet. Something wild, something messy, something hopeful. We see impossible and say, let's try anyway. That's hard to teach. Samantha chuckled. Maybe we're the anomaly, not the wormhole. Greg finally smiled. Just then, Olivia Martinez ran into the room. Sir, you need to see this, she said, motioning them to the main screen. The hologram showed a new message from the Galactic Council. It read, To the humans of Sigma 7 Station, you have done more than save lives. You have shown the galaxy a new path. The Deathworlder spirit has awakened something in us all. In honor of your actions, we propose that Sigma 7 become the official Galactic Repair and Innovation Center, led by humans, open to all. Greg stared at the message. He blinked once, then looked at Samantha and Olivia. Did we just change the galaxy? Olivia laughed. I think we did. They watched as a new fleet of ships approached Sigma 7. But these weren't damaged vessels. They were learning ships, filled with engineers and students from across the galaxy, sent to study the human way. Out in the bays, Frank, Carly, Alan, and others began preparing for new visitors. This time, it wasn't about saving lives. It was about building a new future. 3 months later, a monument stood in the central hall of Sigma 7 Station. It wasn't made of gold or crystal. It was simple, scraps of old metal welded together, bolts sticking out and wires coiled like vines. Ugly to some, beautiful to others. The plaque below it read, "In chaos we created order. In brokenness we found unity." Dedicated to the day the galaxy learned to fix itself, and below that, in small human writing, Death Worlder Repair Philosophy. Rule number 1. Try something crazy, it just might work. The aliens loved that line, but only the humans truly understood why.